Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first January 2023 Cataloging Special Interest Group. We're going to have two this month. Check the koha-US.org calendar. That's at koha-US.org for the second one of the month on January 26th. It's going to be at a different time. So hopefully that will attract other people who can't make this time. And before we get started, I'm going to put a bug into the chat. I did a little searching, and this bug, I believe, really describes some issues and some possible solutions to the linking entry field linking. So for example, if you have one serial continued by another serial, or an article cataloged, an analytic linking to the host. And I'm really encouraging people to look at it and chime in, and feel free to post to our cataloging discussion list or also the main Koha discussion list, or just comment on the bug. Don't be shy. The Koha community on Bugzilla is so friendly. Comment, ask questions, chime in, and I'd love to see some action on this bug because solutions have been very piecemeal. For example, fixing or doing a development or a patch for, say, a 773 field, rather than addressing all the linking entry fields as one issue with the common functionality. And I would really encourage people in consortia to take a look at this, because we had a comment about how can we ensure that there is some sort of option, maybe even a system preference, for consortias or people in multi-branch settings to ensure that the linking goes to a bib record for their library or for the holdings for their library. So I think that would be really important comments to attract. So does anybody have anything they'd like to bring to the group this month?
Well, sort of. Bruce, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, being a belt and suspenders kind of guy, I've been running old stable. And in November, that evolved. And I've been unable to upgrade. It turns out that I need to update the underlying version of Linux. And when I do that, it breaks again. So not sure where to look next for solutions to this.
Where and when does it break?
Basically, when I open Koha after the upgrade, I get nothing. Doesn't even open.
Okay, nothing, no error message, no blue screen of death.
Yeah,
you have to import that into Linux.
Yeah, I do, but
I would encourage you to maybe post some, if you can track details, post to the main Koha group, or bring it to the koha-US System Administration Special Interest Group.
Here's a good thought. I didn't realize they had one. Good.
Yes, let's look for the link to that and put that in the chat. Let's see.
Andrew,
I have the
running
calendar.
that one.
Yeah, January 10th. I'll put the link in the chat.
Okay.
Yes, Happy New Year, Julia. Nice to see you here.
I know when I upgraded, I had to change all the tables to, I think, dynamic. I don't know if that can't remember if nothing worked or I just had to do that to get some parts of it.
Okay.
And somewhere in the archives, posted something about how to do it, but
This is why I work old stable. All these bugs get worked out before I get to them.
yeah, but then there are major overhauls between this one and that one.
Yeah, so far I haven't been terribly troubled by not having the proximity to the bleeding edge.
Yeah. Can't remember what I upgraded from to get to old stable.
Now I've been running old stable for quite a while, and it's been really good because it runs. And this time, okay. It may be the problem that is it's trying to upgrade Koha at the same time it's upgrading the operating system. I think I'll try doing that separately.
Yeah, try that.
Meanwhile, sitting here realize how to do that. So thanks for thanks for inspiring me.
I'm speaking of upgrading, I'm also putting into the chat a link to the Koha Community December 2022 newsletter. It has a lot of links about the new 22.05 version and resources for 22.05. There's some neat features in it.
Yeah. Now I've still got 30,000 items to catalog, so fun features and all the patron attributes I can pass on for another decade.
There may be some things that make cataloging 30,000 items easier, though.
Yeah, but I haven't got the budgets for staff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I found shortcuts that cut. Okay, just 2 keystrokes instead of 15.
Yeah, that's a win.
Yeah.
Okay, it gives me 2 places to go check. And Fred, I'll let you go ahead with your crisis.
Okay, this is, well, it's not so much a crisis as a can of worms that suddenly turned up. Because when I was setting up Koha, I didn't know what I was doing. And this may be more of a serials problem than a cataloging problem. But one of our journals, Modern Healthcare, turns out I set the prediction pattern wrong. And then there are a lot of them that are not checked in, even though they came here a long time ago. So I downloaded the record. Each issue is in a 952 field. And the check-in date is one of the fields that isn't there. Also, I'd like to add volume and issue in, what is it? X? Anyway, public note. If I transfer all the information to Heather, you're looking ill.
Yeah, we usually put that in the subfield H.
It may
the
be.
volume
I'm
and
not
issue.
sure.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I'll restrain myself.
I'm making this up.
Okay.
I'm just using it as an example.
Gotcha.
Subfield, whatever. If I I've exported the record. If I put it into, let's say, use MarcEdit to put it into a spreadsheet and then put in all the data and then upload it again, will that show as being checked in? Or do you have to go through the check-in process?
I think you would have to go through the check-in process as far as I know, but I could be mistaken. And as far as I know, the check-in process, I wouldn't worry about it. We get a lot of donated back issues of serials. And what I've tended to do in the check-in, like we've especially during the pandemic, we had like year and sometimes 2-year gaps in subscriptions lapsed, or we just didn't receive them and we have no idea what happened to the mail, that sort of thing. And those I just deleted from the check-in screen because I couldn't receive them. I wasn't going to claim them. It's like I just deleted all those. And then we've had some of those donated and I just add the item records. It's fine.
Okay. There's also the problem that the person who set it up, whoever that might be, 24 issues a year rather than 52. If I just delete the 952 field, will I do anything terrible for some of the excess ones? Okay.
I don't think so. I think it'll be fine. Yeah, because serials change publication patterns all the time. And yeah, I mean, these things happen all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one more question, then I'll go away or mute.
No, that's what we're here for. We're here for questions.
Yeah, but I'm not supposed to be the only speaker. I do apologize.
You won't be. You'll inspire us. Go ahead.
That's why I covered you earlier.
Okay. Now, what was it? Oh, yes. Can you set up a prediction pattern for the first and third, let's say, Monday of the month? So there are 24 issues. Yeah. If there's a fourth Monday.
I've never done that. I don't know that it can't be done. I've noticed that Koha doesn't seem to care if the projected publication or release date is in relation to the receive date, but it is nice if those are somewhat accurate for seeing if things are late.
Okay.
You inspire a question in my mind. I'm cataloging periodicals just as individual items, and I haven't bothered with predictions because the bulk of my collection is that I just donated stuff that has come in over the transom and by the box. Does creating a schedule do me anything in terms of cataloging, or won't even show me what I'm missing? Good. I can keep not doing that then.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm aware, the serial subscription records are for receiving, tracking your vendor in a relationship with the vendor, enabling claims, knowing if something's late, that sort of thing, for your acquisitions people, if for purchasing.
Mm-hmm.
And these questions for current serials, I think would be great to take to other special interest groups who use those more. But cataloging wise, as far as I can tell with the bibliographic and item records, Koha doesn't really care what's going on in the subscription records.
Yeah, which is good. Well, so many of my periodicals are amateur publications that will change their publication frequency annually and their title every 4 or 5 years, and
yeah, and
if no end. I can't say anything because our own journal is now in my inbox. It was due out in September of 21. I've got 3 former editors to stick dolls in their voodoo pins. Think they're voodoo dolls? Oh, well.
If you want to track your vendor in a bibliographic and item record without doing subscription records, there is a place to put it in the MARC record, and I'm putting that into the chat. The 037 field is your friend for source of acquisition.
Now you've inspired me. We get something like 4 print journals. I might take them out as of the serial system and add a new item each time one comes in. And who cares about tracking? We don't use koha to do claims or much anything. That's probably a good idea.
Missing issues are just less work for us.
You can track in an 037. You can have fields for your current information about your source of acquisition, and you can also have 037 fields for former sources of acquisition. So they're very useful. Yeah, and you can put in PO boxes, email addresses, whatever. We tend to try to keep in mind if there's any privacy information. We try not to put in anything in there that only we know about or has been given to us sort of in a privileged way, but in which case we'd refer, say, to a paper file or to another file. But if somebody's actually putting out a newsletter, putting out a periodical, selling a self-published
item, if they put their address in it, they deserve what they get.
It's right. They want that information to be out there publicly so people can purchase. So
very good. I'll look into 037 as well.
So does anybody else have anything they'd like to bring to the group? Catherine, I think you're muted.
We're in the same room, so she was asking me.
Oh,
this
yes,
is my
you
colleague.
were muted.
She's normally in Germany, so she's now in North Carolina. She can join us today, and she knows our problem better than I do. So I'm gonna let her.
So, hi everyone, I'm Catherine. I was just asking Lauren if this is the appropriate place and forum to raise the question. I actually have 2 issues that I'm dealing with in that have to do with linking. Okay, good. So the first one is we are a consortium. My library joined the consortium about 1.5 years ago. And yeah, we have both sets with volumes and then analytic records for journals that I'm trying to pull into the consortium catalog. And I am having trouble when I create the child records, and I think I've done them according to how it's described on the wiki. I cannot, it all works fine, and the searching works fine in the OPAC as long as I have not limited the search by library. As soon as I limit the search to my library, the child records aren't found. And Lauren tells me that that's because the item is not actually attached to that child record, it's attached to the host record. Is there a fix for that?
We found that we put an item on the child record without a barcode in it.
Okay.
With an item type that says article.
Okay.
To be another alert to the users, public and staff, that this is an article, or you know, it's an analytic, and that item record on the child record can have a location for a holding library.
Okay.
Or
so
not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I create kind of a dummy item record on that analytic record or on the child record for the volume. and assign it to my library.
Yes.
And then it will show up in search results.
It should.
Okay, that's great.
If it doesn't come back.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Sounds like a terribly important tool I need to implement.
Okay. Yeah. And then the other issue was Lauren just this morning added some linking fields to our print book framework, the 765 and 767 for links between translations and originals. And well, I added them to the record, but they're not showing up in the staff interface or in the OPAC and the normal view. Is there something we need to do to make them appear?
Have you checked your frameworks to make sure that those fields can be shown at the framework level for the frameworks being used, the MARC bibliographic framework?
Okay, that would be a question for Lauren.
The framework has it viewable in OPAC, staff interface, editor, collapsed. That's the setting for both of those fields. And it's still not showing up.
One thing I can think of to do is to go to a demonstration instance on one of the vendors or at the koha-US.org demonstration catalog and import those records into the demonstration catalog and just see if they show up there just for some information. And then also, I would then take that information perhaps to the system administration group, because those are perfectly valid MARC fields, and why they're not showing up, I think might be more of a system administration issue. And then let us know.
What I would do,
and it could be the version we're on. The 2111, we've got some weird, so like the frameworks I've set up to appear in a certain order, it doesn't always do that.
I wouldn't think that would affect field display, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
An easy but very, very annoying way to change a field display is to go in and edit the XSLT file or XSL file.
I would also check the indicators in those fields to make sure that they're set to display. There are some. I'm putting the MARC format link to the 765 field. The first indicator is a note controller, and the second indicator is a display constraint.
Yeah, we checked those already.
Yeah. These fields are very important with RDA because they're being used more and more often. Yeah. And again, I'm encouraging everybody to please go look at Bugzilla to bug 21472 about linking entry fields.
Yes.
Yes.
I was just reading that. So
yay. Well, does anybody have anything else they'd like to bring to the group? I have some more bugs to show people. Let me go get them. This is a bug that hasn't had a lot of traction, but it popped up in my search. It's simple non-MARC cataloging interface. And it hasn't, it's only got a few comments, but I was thinking that people in consortias and people in smaller settings, that might be something they'd be interested in taking a look at. I'm also putting in bug 22232, which is something that I personally would absolutely love, which is use the advanced cataloging editor for authority records.
Yeah, especially now that I've completely gone through and updated my authority records. You get time to do things on a cruise ship.
So that's the secret to cataloging efficiency. We need to all take cruises.
Well, it's not too good for books because, you know, it's hard to schlep them about and find room for them in your cabin. But those 5-day Atlantic crossings were great for cleaning up my own mess.
Yeah, I've often thought if I had to have just a week away somewhere with no distractions, it would be difficult. Maybe I could get an awful lot of catalog cleanup done.
Yeah, and considering that I started with a vast pool of ignorance, I've got a lot of things that need cleaning up. I got better.
I'm in the process of doing that for our consortium. And the one thing I did, so like a lot of our records that were imported in put their old biblio number in the 001 for their old catalog.
Yeah.
And I finally, one library, like I knew this problem existed. I finally figured out how to do it in Market Edit. And turns out it became the barcode number. And so I'm like, oh, the good news is I can just say, get rid of it.
Yeah.
I don't need it anymore.
It's already backed up.
It's already backed up. It's a barcode. It doesn't need to be. But I'm like, this explains why some of our linking has been really weird lately.
Yeah.
It's because I have 2 records with the same control number in the 001. Does anyone know if there's a way to auto-populate that 001 with the biblio number?
The advanced cataloging format has a button you can use to increment the value, and because half my collection has come down from Z3950, there were basically random numbers in there, and I found that even if you click on one of those random numbers that is 4 digits longer than my current codes, it erases that and puts in the next one in the sequence. It actually pays attention to that. So that's made it very easy for me to conform all my 001s to my own sequence. And that enabled me to run into problems with linking.
Took you down a road you didn't know you didn't want to go on.
No, it was helpful in the long run. But
yeah, since we're OCLC users, we have the OCLC record number stored in the 001.
Yeah.
And we have our other obsolete numbers in 035s.
You already have a biblio number and you just want to copy it into 001?
In our library, each record has a biblio number that I want in the 001 because we're using control numbers in that field. Well, when I finish cleaning everyone up and removing the control numbers that we don't want, we want the biblio number to be in the 001 field, so that if anyone creates a link in one of the linking fields, they can just skip that stuff because it's already, the library and biblio number is already populated. They don't need to do that. They can just add the biblio number in the linking field.
Yeah.
Right, in the subfield W.
If
Yeah.
001 and 003 are there, you're good to go.
Okay.
Right now, everyone has to manually put in the 001 and 003 in both
Okay,
records,
so-
and then do it in the linking. It's again, I'm wanting to take Fred's thing where 2 clicks instead of 15.
Let's see, is the biblio number already in the 999C field? Okay, let's see if this works. Go into Mark Edit and go and copy the 999C into the 001. I think
Do
it's
you have a
Mark.
formula for me to tell it how to do that?
No, but you can go into Mark's subfield edit, the one at the bottom page, copy one field to another, which is how I can copy the PubMed ID number from the 099 field to the 952P, so I can actually look things up using reported barcode. And then you could also copy the 999C into the 003. And if you have to have a subfield, it could probably, I don't know if Mark Edit will let you do this. If Mark Edit requires you to have a subfield to copy it into, you could call it, let's see, the 001A, and then go through and find and replace 001A with 001.
Yeah.
Is this making any sense?
001s don't have subfields though. They're weird.
Yeah.
Right. But if Mark Edit requires you to have a subfield,
Yeah.
you could just add it and then
Remove it.
delete it with and then replace.
Right. I would think too, like once this is all fixed up, this would be something that the Mark modification template in Koha could do upon import.
Yeah. I was just thinking of a way that I could do it because I don't know those things.
How would the rule? I don't know what the rule would the rule be copy the 999C to the 001 is a March mod. Okay.
Something like that. And this is something, if you'd like help creating that Mark modification rule, I would post to our cataloging list or to the main Koha list, because there are people there that know regex who can help in constructing that Mark modification template rule. And I would encourage this be posted on the Koha community wiki, because I think it's something that a lot of people would find useful.
The goal is when I am finished presenting at the next koha-US with all of the RDA Mark task lists that I've created, and then to put on the bug in Bugzilla about, okay, here are the frameworks that I used for my item types. Is there a way that we can, because I want it written in where all a person has to do is move the framework and it auto-populate. My hang up with the frameworks is I can't duplicate a field. It won't let me have 2 fields with different information in it.
Right, not at the framework level, because that's not a framework kind of thing. I would think that you could create
a batch modification.
Yeah, a batch modification but I think actually more in the advanced cataloging editor, a macro.
So it's a macro. There's a bug for, can we take macros and put it in the basic editor? Because that's what I'm wanting. I've got catalogers who can't ever do that.
Yes,
so
the basic editor needs macros desperately.
So it either needs macros or move the batch modification templates where I can, that's an option on the basic editor. You could use either either function. I think that would work for either one. But yeah, whenever I'm finished and I've worked and I've discovered all the bugs that in the project, then I'll add to that bug everything I've learned and hopefully give more, because I feel like that bug isn't getting any attention because it doesn't have enough information.
Let us know the bug number if you can. If not,
Okay.
during this meeting, post to our catalog discussions or even catalogers can you type in your
Maybe it wasn't my connection.
Yeah.
yeah, that was interesting.
I thought my connection was fading out.
You type in a 785 and then you go into the subfield area and you just put in the record number that you want the field created for, and you run the macro and it auto populates the entire 785 or whatever linking entry field you have with the record, with the target record data. It's beautiful. So this is this is a cataloging editor macro of my dreams, but again, it's something I need to work on and figure out.
Does this exist? I'm like, I want this.
I know, I want this too. It doesn't.
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet for Koha, but I want it. So it's a, you know, it exists in the OCLC cataloging client. And it is
Are you having network problems again?
I posted the bug in the chat for those who are interested in the, please write more for making macros also usable in the basic. Either want a macro to do it or a mark modification template. I want them to be interchangeable, I think. Did we completely lose her?
This is why I didn't come on the meeting was held when I was in Zanzibar.
Like, get a better connection in Zanzibar. Yeah, it's raining like mad in Berkeley, San Francisco.
Yeah. She's back again.
My theory is that your web connection is getting rained out.
It's entirely possible. Well, does anybody have anything else they'd like to bring to the group?
I've been lurking. I'm here. It looks like the mark modification templates can't copy to the 001 because it doesn't have a subfield, but there's a bug that fixes it maybe. Because I was trying to play with that while you were talking about it. You can't put a 0 in it, and since 001 doesn't have a subfield. Yeah. And then I had a bug I think I talked about a few months ago. I don't know if I had it filed yet, so there's no one else copied on it but me, so I'm gonna put it in here for visibility. This was the idea of using the Google Books API to pre-populate the basic editor with by using the ISBN to just pull in like a brief record to start from scratch with. So I wrote that bug up, and feel free to copy yourself on it. That's all I got to.
No, I don't want. Check out. Or get it, see if that'll do what I hope it will do.
Heather, you might try turning off your camera to save bandwidth. It might help.
It's not a bandwidth issue because my husband's computer is
Okay.
going full tilt. I think it's probably my new work computer somehow, but anyway. So I'm sorry for my my disappearances. Jason was bringing up something with the mark modification templates.
Sure. Yeah, I was playing with that, and I noticed that you can't copy from like 9999C to the 001 because the 001 doesn't have a subfield, but there's a bug, and it looks like it's fixed in version 2211. So if you have the right version, it should work. And then I put this other bug, I guess I'll repost it for Heather because I bet her chat's gone. So a couple of months ago, I talked about, we were talking about the fact that you could do purchase suggestions from the ISBN with the Google Books API, and I wanted that in the basic editor. So that's the bug I filed on that. And she's frozen again, so.
Since we have an idle moment, this may not be entirely cataloging, but there's a function for patrons to put in suggestions. I've got 9,000 suggestions, and I cannot see them or delete them. Haven't had a chance to look in the bugs lately, but that ring a bell for anyone?
You might check and see if they're archived, because that's something I just recently learned about, is that purchase suggestions can be archived, so they're hidden by default, and you have to like pop it open and check a little box to show that they've been archived. I can show you. So you can check these boxes and then go down here to the bottom and archive suggestions.
How do I get to this? How do I get to this page though?
Okay, so it's in the more menu. There's suggestions.
Yeah.
And that's where like patron initiated suggestions go, purchase suggestions go. So they may all be living in there if you haven't made it to that page. But if they're there but archived, you have to click on or suggestion information, click include archived, and then go.
Okay.
So you can see that my number changed here from 139 to 144 because I've got some living in the background there that aren't showing by default.
Okay, I'm trying to pull it up here. I've got the suggestions management page, but it doesn't show anything.
All right, then I would guess you have a different problem.
Okay.
You can run a like a simple report on the suggestions to see what's in the database tables on it in there.
Okay, I'll try that.
We also have a pretty helpful comment in the chat about if with that many suggestions, the page might be taking a really long time to load. So maybe just give it some long, go make a cup of tea.
Got that covered.
Okay, and I just tried in Mark Edit copying. I didn't have a 999C, so I just did 035. Copy that to the 001. It works. If you're interested, I can show you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Share screen. Okay, where? Okay, I think this is the one I wanted to share. Okay, can you see? Well, let's see. Let's see if this works. Okay, so I'm going to hit F7. Can you see the add delete field utility screen? Okay. All right. So I'm going into swap fields, and just because I don't have a 999, 001, copy source, and you can see, no, you can't. Okay. Right now there's just the 1001 process. Let's see if it does what it did last time. 22 modifications, and now we have 2001 fields. You don't need an indicator or a subfield.
Nice.
Yes, that. Okay, where's stop share?
Mark edit. This project that I'm doing would not be possible without the support of Mark edit.
Yes.
It will eventually be without Mark edit and Koha, but
And it does look like Lucas confirmed that being able to do that with the mark modification templates is backported to 220508 as well. So that's good news.
Yeah, I see. I don't use the Koha cataloging interface. I much prefer Mark Edit because a lot of my stuff is translated from reference manager fields or downloaded from OCLC. It's something I know how to do now. I don't have to learn anything new.
I have to say I like the colors in the advanced cataloging editor in the more recent versions of Koha. Well, we have about 10 more minutes if anybody has anything else they'd like to bring.
I can give you a slight update of my authors catalog, going from version 17 point whatever and probably with modified XSL. I keep getting it mixed up with XLS. So I set up one. Turns out I put in, I set up a bare bones Koha, just plain, with MariaDB, and turns out Elasticsearch and Koha won't work together unless you have 4 gigabytes of RAM. And the error message it gives you is not at all helpful. And I had everything set up, and then DigitalOcean sent me a message saying that the server had been compromised and used for a brute force attack and a few other IPs. So I just wiped out that particular instance. I'm also going through the old, I exported all the article records, the conference records, and the poster records, and I'm seeing which fields I'm using, and find out that the new system has to accommodate all of those. The easiest way is just go into Mark Edit and delete all the all the 105 fields. Okay, write that down. 245. Yeah, write that. And then eventually you'll get what is left over, including some that just have go in 1 or 2 records because they made a mistake. That's about it. I need a week somewhere. How about Bruce and Lauren? You want to get together at somewhere in a central location that has a small conference room, and we can just spend a week?
Database cleanup unconference.
That
Need
way
to
we
hook
can
it to
chat
the
across the
Comic-Con.
room.
You know, just we stay an extra week wherever it's at. This is catalog cleanup.
I mean, why not? There's Hackfest, and then why not have Cleanup Fest?
If
There you go.
if nothing else, get together for a day to share our problems and solutions, and that would probably be worth a roundtable discussion anyway.
Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah, in the chat, the concept of shut up and write appointments at academic writers. Yes.
It would be useful to have it in person, because that way you can point and wave your hands around.
Well, and when you have a problem, you just move your laptop beside their computer.
Yeah, or just have a large screen and with 3 different inputs.
Yep. And since we're nearing the end of our meeting, I will put in a pitch to say we are always happy here to talk about database cleanup, and with your questions, concerns, triumphs, and current projects, etc. So, and I'm also going to remind folks we're having another cataloging special interest group on January 26th in a different time. It's going to be a few hours later, so hopefully other folks can make that meeting that find this timing convenient.
Rolling back a wee bit, I've got the suggestions list up. I've checked them all, but I don't see anywhere to delete them. And they all seem to be gibberish or spam.
So, does your page look like mine did before, where it's like a table full of your suggestions? Or are you talking about?
Exactly.
Okay, so there should be checkboxes along the left, and then at the bottom there, you should have a delete selected box.
So to the bottom, I got 485 pages. May take a while. Delete selected. Got it. All righty. I'll come back tomorrow and see if that worked. Thank you all.
Let us know how it goes.
Yeah.
Well, does anybody have anything for our last few minutes? Juliet says they have 96 pages and it feels like forever. Yeah, I hear that.
Yes, but only after you stop recording.